G'day guys, welcome back to Fat Fords. In this episode we're going to be concentrating on the floor tub. So there's quite a bit to do. First of all, I'm going to be working on these, what's left of the chassis rails down here. They're going to have to be trimmed back, and then we've got some bracing inside the sill panel there. You can see that has to actually come out, and then unfortunately I was hoping to use this rear part for the rear seat because it looked really good, but the problem was when you sat in it your head was hitting the roof, and so I had to work to Con about it, the engineer, and he basically said we're going to need to lower it. So unfortunately we're going to have to cut that end piece off through here and take it down basically to the level of the original Falcon floor, and then we'll look at whether or not we're going to use the Mustang seat or whether we do something else. So there's quite a bit to do. We've also got to use the plasma cutter to blow some holes through the top of this sill panel, so that we can weld to that Z panel that I've put into the Falcon. So yeah, so that's about it. I mean, not sure how much we'll get into this episode, but we'll see what we can do. We might get to a point where we put the floor tub in, but there is quite a bit to do on this, so we might as well crack on and get on with it. Hope you enjoy.
Someone to save. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall. I drive away into the night, and I contemplate for a while.
Okay, so I've pretty much finished working on the driver's side here. As you can see here, these chassis rails have been cut down. I've plenished all the spot welds away. It was really hard getting this chassis rail off because this is made out of toughened steel, whereas this is I think this is pretty much mild steel. So unless you actually grind the weld right off, you can't drill it. Unless you grind the weld pretty much right through, you've got to be really careful when you're chiseling it off, otherwise you just tear this metal out. But yeah, we got it all. Anyway, and then along the top here on the sill, I've used the plasma cutter to blow some holes through here, and then I've just come back along with the Dremel and just sort of rounded them off a little bit more. And then around the back here, unfortunately we've had to cut the rear of the floor pan off. This is the part that supported the rear seat. And as I mentioned earlier, the seat was just sitting too high. We wouldn't have been able to get it certified and have seat belts and that. So we've had to cut it off. And now what we've got here is the rear of the floor pan, or the rear of the tub here, is going to be pretty much level with where actually it's not going to be level with the original floor. I think the original floor was about here. This is where the chassis rails come through. So it's still probably 50 mil above the original floor. But anyway, we'll see how we go. We'll put it in and we'll check it out for height and everything. But I'm going to have to refabricate the rear of the floor. So yeah, so that's about it for now. So we're just going to start the crane up, and we're just going to tip this thing over, and then I'm going to work on the passenger side. So carry on. Okay, so we've pretty much got the tub ready to go, hopefully. As you can see, the sills are all cleaned up, copper coated. Holes all drilled through the top there, ready to plug weld to the Z shaped inner sill, which I've got in the car already. We've cut off the back end here, so that's all ready. It's going to need a little bit of fine tuning obviously, and then I'm going to have to build that whole rear floor again. So yeah, pretty much ready to go, I think. And then we'll just check the car out. So we've cleaned and prepped those A pillars. You can see a little bit cut out up there, that's because that was bulging out. That had to be trimmed off. It's not really going to matter because we're going to have a 3mm piece of flat sheet welded on the end of those kick panel sections, and then they'll be welded to each end of this A pillar. So it's all going to tie in, you'll see eventually anyway. So we've got our quarter power ready to go. We're going to project this thing out another 50mm to fit this thing in to get over the top of these lips. So anyway, fingers crossed, all should go well, hopefully. So let's give it a go. Okay guys, well we've got the floor pan in and I'm pretty pumped about that. It's looking pretty good. So as you can see now, if you look down here at these chassis rails, the chassis rails on the Mustang floor pan have been trimmed down to the height of the Falcon chassis rails. So all those brackets and stuff for the transmission and the top of that, just the lip on that torque box, that'll be cut off, and then everything's going to be boxed in with a full length piece of 3mm thick cold rolled steel. There'll be obviously 4 sides, will be boxed right around the chassis rails, and it'll go right under the car, so it'll join it all together. And then we've got I just made up this template, which is basically what that is. That goes on the side of the kick panel, in between this Mustang firewall kick panel and the kick panel of the Falcon. So that's going to be made out of 3mm steel as well, and that's going to basically be a transition piece so we can weld the two together. So yeah, it's all go. So then I'm going to have to work on this bottom piece for the windscreen. I'm probably going to use offcuts from the original plenum of the Falcon, and yeah, just sort of run that through, because this Mustang one has more of a sharper curve to it, so it'll start off sort of 0 and then it'll sort of come out a little bit to here. What else have we got? Let's come around and have a look on the side here, Blake. So yeah, again, our template, if we just slide that in, hopefully we can get it through. There we go. So that's just going to fit in there like that. That's our transition piece, and just for the time being, I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do. I was thinking about upholstering this and then having the normal pinch weld coming down like that, but I'm just undecided yet. Maybe some of you can leave some comments and give me your opinion. The other alternative is to bodywork this, so this just flows around, and pinch weld down here. I'm not sure about that. Might be a bit too much metal showing. Either way, we'll work it out. So yeah, so there's that. And if you have a look over here, we've still got to clamp it together. So if you have a look along here where I've blown out these holes, that's going to be plug welded to the top of that Z shaped sill panel which we welded in earlier. We've still got to clamp the car together, so it's still got to come together a fair bit. And then if you have a look at the back piece around here, So obviously there's a big space left because we're not using the rear of the Mustang floor pan anymore. I'm probably going to have to come down in height here. I'm probably going to have to come down to the original Falcon rear floor height. I'm not going to use a Falcon seat, but if I do that, then I'm going to have to continue that hump through and then just follow the contours, just come down and then across, and we'll work it out from there. Maybe we'll put bucket seats in the back. Sometimes it's good to have a plan and sometimes it just doesn't work, you know. So yeah, and then if you have a look at the side here where that template is, again you can see that that's going to you know, it's going to be doing more than one job. It'll be filling in that space there as well. But I'm still undecided whether that's going to be left solid or whether I cut a space out as an access panel, which obviously would have to be sealed, but I'm just thinking whether or not I need to have access to that piece there, because I may have to run things like brake lines and fuel line and stuff down there. We'll see. I've also still, at the moment, I've left this, if you have a look around here, I've left this battery box here. That space there, this part here, that's originally the battery box on a Mustang. Now, I was trying to keep things really, really simple, you know, so keep the battery box where it would have been, so all the wiring harness, etc., etc. But I honestly think it's going to cause too much of a problem. Like, you know, then I'd have to reroute things like, you know, all your framework for the bonnet hinges, like a bonnet hinge would normally go here. That's going to be in the way of the battery if I do that. So it's kind of looking like I may have to put the battery in the boot, which is not a bad idea. I think maybe I'll just put like a, I was thinking of maybe having an isolator switch there, so your normal battery terminals from the Mustang wiring limb will go there to an isolator switch, and then cable from the isolator switch maybe running through the sill panel to the boot, and then having the battery in the boot. It'll probably make more sense, I think. But for the time being, I'm happy just to have this in. So this is finger crossed, this is the final fit. So probably in the next video we'll be welding this in, welding it home, and moving on to fabricating the bottom of the windscreen. So step by step we're getting there. But yeah, we'll get it all plug welded in, clamped together, and as I say, work on the windscreen, and then after that we'll be coming to the chassis rails. There's a lot of work to do still. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.